I'm the doctor. I can save the universe with a kettle and some string, and look at me, I'm wearing a vegetable. So, did it for the last mini-sode. I'm going to do it for this one because it might be the best one they've done. Time Crash. And I'll make this super quick because I don't know how long this episode is going to be. This is brought to you by Radio vs. The Martians. It is one of the great podcasts out there to listen to people discussing geeky materials of all kinds, whether it is comic books, superheroes, sci-fi, fantasy, all over the place, movies, TV, video games. Mike Gillis, Casey Dorn, they are fantastic. They have amazing guests, great discussions. Give them a listen, radioversusthemartians.com or wherever you happen to listen to podcasts. It's good stuff. So, Time Crash. This is... I've realized where... this doesn't happen to me all that often, but I've realized in advance where my brain is going to end up taking this. And some people aren't going to like it, but we'll get there. So, Time Crash is the little mini episode that takes place between The Last of the Time Lords and Voyage of the Damned. So, in between those, we have this tiny little bottle episode done with no money, using anything that isn't shot in the TARDIS control room is stock reused footage, and featuring Peter Davison returning as the Fifth Doctor. And this is the most I have ever liked Peter Davison. I have talked before about my issues with him and how he's one of my least favorite Doctors. But the thing is, I'll watch this mini-sode and be like, but this is good. I like him here. Why doesn't he work for me elsewhere? And I think I may have figured that out. But I'm gonna come back to that. So it's really just a wonderful, sweet interaction between the Fifth Doctor and the 10th, especially with the 10th sort of knowing and the 5th getting a little bit flustered and frustrated with him. Their banter is back and forth. The pacing is great. It's really terrific. And there's a wonderful thing about Tennant's awe of Davison, because Davison was David Tennant's favorite Doctor. So that whole "you were my doctor," that is a meta moment where with one actor telling another, "you were my doctor." And, that's a really sweet moment. Is it a little cheesy? Well, yeah, but you know what? It's allowed to be. It's a tiny little love letter to the Fifth Doctor, noting things about him, tossing out companion names, and, the fact that he went hands-free and all the things like that. The mention of the Master, the beard joke, which doesn't bug me that much. Like, I take it as a gag. I don't take it as, like, an actual deliberate statement. And if people don't, like... Just in case, the way the joke goes is the Tennant mentions the Master. Davison goes, "Does he still have that rubbish beard?" And Tennant says, "No beard. Well, a wife." So, just in case you don't know the terminology, a beard is a term occasionally used for a woman married to a gay man. And the reason that gay man married a woman was to cover the fact that he's gay, to hide behind her like she's a beard. So that relationship is sometimes referred to as a guy having a beard. So yeah, that's what the joke is. And like I've sort of gone over it in my head, and like I don't need to take that as a direct indication of either the Master being gay or that the Doctor is, has any kind of issue with that, if that is the case. I think he just kind of saw in his head an opening for a joke and went there. Maybe I just think that because that's something that I tend to do. There'll be times that something will happen and my brain will immediately go to like some awful joke, and I'll be like, and I'll say it, and then immediately go, I am so sorry, I had to. And I feel like it was that moment, or at least that's how I rationalize it in my head. So let's pull it back to Davison again. I've said in the past that I thought part of the reason why I didn't like him during his run on the show was that I didn't have the sense of experience, and his youth was working against him. Now, he's not the youngest. I don't think he is. I think Matt Smith was actually younger, but they were close at any rate. But Matt Smith worked for me because Matt Smith still felt old, whereas Davison felt like he was playing at being old, but wasn't really convincing me of it. And I've mentioned that before, and I do think that's part of it, but I think I was over-stressing that point, because as much as I, have enjoyed some of the Big Finish Fifth Doctor stories that I've heard, I don't really love him in them either. And you need to realize, Big Finish has made me love Colin Baker's Doctor, and his Doctor's insufferable on the show. So there has to be something else at play here. And I think I've actually nailed down what it is. I've yet to see or hear the Fifth Doctor have what I felt was a good dynamic or chemistry with a companion. Because the Fifth Doctor went through a lot of companions. He ripped through, he had 3 at a time. He had Nyssa and Tegan and Adric, and then there was Turlo and Chameleon and Perry. Like, he went through a lot. And I never felt like he had a definitive companion, because I feel like everybody else did. With Hartnell, you had Susan, Ian, and Barbara. With Troughton, you had Jamie. With Pertwee, you had, Joe Grant or Sarah Jane. Take your pick. Fourth Doctor, you had Sarah Jane or Romana. Either one works. Sixth Doctor, I mean, maybe not so much, but he had enough other problems going on that wasn't going to save him anyway. But, I mean, him and Perry's still kind of a thing. Seventh Doctor, Ace, definitely. Ninth and Rose. 10, I mean, for me it's 10 and Donna, but 10 and Rose is still really strong too. 11, Amy, very much. And, 12, for me it's Bill, but, I get he's sunk a lot of time into Clara, so people dig that. I'm not going to get into 13 because I've talked about her companions before, but, 5, I don't feel like there's a definitive relationship that he has with any of these companions that is, the quintessential Doctor-companion relationship of his time, of his era. So the result is, I think I've come to realize a big part of most Doctors that makes me really become endeared to them is the relationship they have with their companions. And I don't think Davison has. I'm not going to say he has no good companions. He doesn't have any relationships or dynamics with his companions that I enjoy. I think in a lot of ways, I wouldn't have fully appreciated Colin Baker's if I hadn't heard, audio stories with him with Evelyn Smythe or Frobisher, because those are fantastic companions that he's got amazing chemistry with. And the reason I'm bringing it up, talking about this short, is because Davison has great performance chemistry with David Tennant. I mean, they're terrific together. They bounce off each other awesomely. The enthusiasm's there. It's electric. And it's a feeling I've never gotten from the guy. And I was chalking it up to just him not being very good in the part, but I'm not sure that's it. I think he just never had the right people to play off of. At least not that he ever had someone that he could play off of in a way that endeared me to the guy. So I think I might have finally put the last piece into place as to why Davison still, even listening to the audio stuff, and some very good ones, and taking all this stuff in, this is still my favorite instance of him by far, and I think it's the chemistry that he's got with Tennant. I think that's the clincher. So, Time Crash, which I actually did not spend all that much time talking about because it's a short. What is there to talk about? But it gave me a leaping off point to ramble and get all the Fifth Doctor fans in the room mad at me. This'll be fun. What are your thoughts on anything I just said? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. A whole bunch of stuff down there. Link to Radio vs. the Martians. Links to my Patreon. Plus, I got a book, social media, blah, blah, blah. All down in the description. Give them a look. Or you also don't have to. Because at the end of the day, folks, I mean, you're the council. I'm just running meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned.